From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Well, hey, everybody. It's Caroline Gant.
And hi, it's Austin Lowen.
And it's Tyler Blankenship. Good to see you again. I can't see you because I'm an audio waveform.
But they can hear us.
Thank goodness for that.
But you know what? They can also watch us on Saturday mornings, or they can tune in later on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful shining faces. But let's talk about a couple things that are going on right now in the plant world.
Okay.
It's getting cool outside, so houseplants are starting to come in.
None aren't yet.
Yours won't be in for like a month.
Nope, not doing it yet.
Actually, my guava tree is out right now because it got some gnarly scale and mealy bugs.
I didn't know it had mealies. You sent a picture of the scale, and that was gross.
The mealies have been along for the ride the whole time. And I've just been like killing them on the leaves, but not really putting in an effort to do anything. And the scale just kind of crept back in there.
Just took over.
And now they're buds, and the ants don't care. They love both of them.
They love it all.
They're like a big family.
Did you chop it?
I did chop it. I topped it. I took about 2 feet off the top.
Not going to get rid of them, but it's going to help.
Well, that's good.
The old chop and top.
It's just less to go over. And I would much rather like to, make it bushier because my greenhouse isn't that big.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way to do it. Take the head out of something and it'll fatten it up.
And it's time to bring your houseplants in if you have not started already.
Yeah, right.
Austin hasn't. I honestly have not either. But y'all, it's getting cold out. I was wearing a beanie this morning.
That is true. It was like, 39 this morning?
It was not 39.
Was it? Maybe that was the other morning.
It was mid-40s.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But no sun.
It felt like 20s.
So you couldn't be warmed by Mr. Sun.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't.
True.
Well, hey, what else is going on?
You know what was really pretty on the show that y'all don't actually get to see with the podcast, but I can still talk about it.
You could describe it.
And that's my petunias.
Oh.
God.
Oh, man, they were big.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Busy?
They're not busy.
Busily beautiful.
They're perfect.
Well, they're busy growing.
Oh, they are doing that. You're right. Oh, my God.
And what are they busy growing over? Austin has some dead boxwoods. But it's lifted them up towards the heavens.
You can barely even see them now.
Yeah.
They're so mounted over.
I know. The petunias were fantastic. It's been a great year for them. And if y'all don't know, we live in Middle Tennessee. And this winter in December, we had a polar freeze that just killed things. I mean, I say kill things. It didn't necessarily kill things, but it did kill things. But all of our broadleaf evergreens that we have here, lost their leaves over the winter, which is really weird. I've lived here my whole life, 34 years, and I've never seen this happen. And it happened this year, and it killed, or what seems to be killed. And they're definitely dead now. 14 boxwoods across the front of my bed that were just so cute and tiny and perfect.
Justin Brower's.
Yep.
I feel like we were kind of in the ground zero of that.
We were.
Right?
Us and a little bit of Kentucky. And, it didn't even go all the way to East Tennessee, really. It wasn't that bad out there. But boy, did we take it.
We did. We didn't really take it like champs. We
Not
were
at all.
Pretty sad about that. But it was that temperature drop. What did it drop? Like 35 degrees in a matter of an hour?
It was 50 degrees in a matter of 2 hours. Just from 50 to 0. That's intense.
My pipes froze.
And freezing wind chills.
Oh, gosh.
I know David says plants don't feel wind chill, but still,
they were screaming.
That dries them out, and that causes the worst damage to appear on the evergreen leaves that we saw.
It was awful. And what we got to observe is that we didn't see this damage right off the bat. It was really 2 weeks later is whenever you when you really started seeing the damage that the evergreens took. And then my God, y'all, the phone calls just ringing off the hook here. What? My bushes are dead. And they certainly look dead. No, we urged people to wait, and a lot of people did wait. Most everything woke back up, or at least came back from the ground. But there was significant damage.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing, though.
Yep, I hope so.
We're nearing winter, so we'll see if it happens again this year.
It won't.
Fingers crossed it won't. But, that was kind of a sad thing to talk about a little bit. Cool sciencey, weather stuff. But let's go ahead and dive into the broadcast where you guys can learn all about all the subjects we talked about: hydrangeas, overwintering houseplants, and Austin's petunias.
Y'all enjoy.
So we're going to talk about all the things that you've got questions about with regard to your lawn and your landscape. And if you've taken the time to send a question in, well, we're going to get to it right about now. So take it away, Caroline.
All right. So we got a couple questions in on this topic, and let's clear it up. We get it in every week. Should I plant a tree now, or is it too late? So trees, bushes, we got some questions about shrubs, thinking that it is too late as we move into the winter to plant it. I don't think so.
It's never too late.
It's never too late here. It's really not. And trees love it being planted this time of year. They really do. I love it planting trees this time of year. I don't like to plant trees with leaves on them. Whenever they have leaves on them, I got to water it. You know, like after it drops its leaves, I can pretty much plant it, water it once, and then the winter time's just going to keep it wet for me.
Yeah. The worst part is trying to haul it without doing damage to the leaves. And when you're in the fall season, the lost foliage, or at least the foliage that is getting ready to drop off, you can't really damage it because it's going bye-bye anyway.
And we're now detouring towards a question we got on YouTube from Samara. I have an osmanthus, says it's zone 6A and up, but I heard it's not really hardy here in Tennessee. Do you have any advice?
I have one of those.
Yeah,
I've got a bunch of them at my house.
Yeah, mine was doing fine. December freeze took it all the way to the ground, but then it came back up.
All of mine have come back as well. And the cultivar I have is the Goshiki, which is the variegated tricolor, or whatever they want to call it. But
Looks like a holly.
they have been beautiful for years. This is the first time they've ever been bit at my house. Now they got bit hard.
Yeah.
But they have come back completely.
Yeah, I had a guest 2 days ago that lost. She had like a whole stand of like, I don't know, it was like, I think she said like 11 or 12 Goshiki false holly, the same osmanthus that you have, David, and hers had been living there for 17 years. They had made this nice little head. She loved them. They were beautiful. Little variegated, pokey little osmanthus.
Pokey.
Very pokey. And it was something like all of them except for like 3 came back for her. So she came out and got 3 more. We sell osmanthus here, the Goshiki. And so, yeah, that it happened this year. But no, osmanthus is usually plenty hardy around here. And the regular old osmanthus, just the osmanthus fragrans, the tiniest little white blooms produce
amazing.
the best smell you could ever smell. Like it rivals gardenia. I actually think it's better than gardenia. It's like
it's better.
Well, it's better than gardenia because it actually lives here.
I knew you were going there. Yeah, but that, and it gets big too. We've got ours in the batrium, what we call the batrium here, which is kind of our shade structure. And I've noticed a few of them are started to reach, and they really grew this fall. I mean, they're like, what do they sit? They're sitting like 8 feet tall right now in the batrium. So I mean, I'm a fan of osmanthus, but
Now, and if you use what happened this past winter as the criterion for what is hardy and what is not, well, almost everything is not hardy, including conifers.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen such devastation on plants.
Well, a lot of those conifers like Deodoras and they're more almost they're almost more Mediterranean, and
they are.
They're not used to that cold blast.
And we've not had that before, and hopefully not again.
Hopefully.
Edward Oliphant from the At Home Show page has a question. My crepe myrtle are having a second infestation this summer with aphids. Do I need to treat them with neem oil again, given we are into fall season, or just let the leaves fall and give up? I added that. Don't give up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up,
man.
For this season, I'm a fan of just saying let's let it just drop.
Yeah, and then use the neem. Once the leaves have fallen off, then you can do the neem oil this winter.
Yeah,
or really the
dormant oil.
Yeah, but you didn't want something as heavy as possible, and you can't. Neem is great during the growing season, because it's a very light, kind of like a superfine sun spray. But if you can use dormant oil, it's going to be your best bet, and it's it only kills on one end. It only will attack and suffocate the pests that it's applied to, and it's a very safe thing to apply from an applicator standpoint. It doesn't mess with you personally. It's just an oil.
Yeah.
Yep.
And really, the crepe myrtles are, at least 50% defoliated already, and they're going to readily keep dropping. So, just clean up the leaves whenever they drop. You'll be fine.
You'll be okay.
Aphids don't kill crepe myrtles, really. But they do make them look bad.
They're not a terrible pest to have. I would say they're not my least favorite to treat.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Japanese maple. Somebody is planning on putting a Japanese maple in a pot, and they just need tips and suggestions on how to do this.
All right. Well, it's very, very common to put Japanese maples in pots. We've got a guest, Sam Boyette. If you're listening, what's up, my dude? He grows a lot of them in pots, and you can just keep them out during the wintertime because they're very cold hardy here. So it's not, even in a pot, they're hardy. And then really no difference of potting any other plant, really. I mean, it's just something you do. It's very, very common to keep them in pots. So, get a nice, get one of our Earthmix products here that we use for container mixes. And
I use Landscape for my Japanese
I like Landscape
pots.
too. I like Landscape.
And as long as it's at least a zone 5 hardy or hardier plant, which Japanese maples are, you generally won't have an issue so long as you keep it watered thoroughly prior to having a severe freeze. So as long as you can do that, they'll generally do wonderful here.
Yeah, and I think the only thing you need to watch out for is when it comes to next spring. Okay, so if your maple decides to leaf out a little bit early, or when it should leaf out,
they don't like that.
Yeah, and if we get a late frost and it's very, very tender leaves, just move that pot inside overnight. Or
that's actually an advantage there because if they're in the ground, you can't move it.
Exactly.
So
so be prepared with sheets.
I had to cover mine this spring. We had a late frost, as y'all know. Y'all hydrangea lovers know we had a late frost this year because your hydrangea didn't bloom. Well, same thing happened with my Ryusin Japanese maple, which is a green leaf weeper that I love. It's really, really close to my entranceway to my house. It looks great. But this spring, it leafed out early. It's one that wants to leaf out a little bit early for some reason. And I had to get out there and throw the bed sheets over it and cover those tender leaves. And I still suffered a little bit of burn on it. It leafed out past it and everything was fine, which they generally do. But I had to do that this year because they can do that.
Well, it can often be the case when you're trying to cover Japanese maples or other things with tender growth on them, is that for whatever reason, whenever we're having these cold fronts come through, it's very windy. So and if you happen to have plant in threes like people frequently do, you can experience the phenomenon of 3 sheets in the wind.
Yes.
And we want to know that that's difficult.
Be aware.
Yep. Should be aware.
Also, be aware of your laurels. We got a laurel question. Of our 4 cherry laurels, one has started to brown significantly. Is it drought? Is it fungus? I don't know. They didn't send a picture, so what could do this?
Started to brown.
It could be a mix of, it could be a number of things. It's a laurel, let's be honest. There's a lot of things that happen to laurels, and it's not uncommon for you to plant 4 of something and one of them doesn't do well, okay? It could be drought. It could be it's not getting enough water. It could be an overwatered scenario. Laurels really don't like to sit wet either. That's a big problem with laurels. Fungus, to me, doesn't present brown very often with laurels unless it's like a canker. And that's usually described as like one main limb or one chunk that goes like brown on a laurel. I know if you've grown laurels, you've seen this. That's something you can literally cut out and usually take care of it that way. But without some pictures, this one's a little tricky to let me know which one, what's going on. But if they're newly planted and it's going brown, it's usually a water thing. It's usually not enough.
Usually it'll happen where you miss that one watering.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't bounce.
It goes back past the wilting point too far, and then you got leaves that are turning brown. It's not dead.
No.
Just sad.
Setback.
Quick question on Edgeworthia. I do want one of these, and I know that they're kind of marginal here in our zone, and so we do have a viewer that is asking thoughts on Edgeworthia, which is also paper bush.
All right. Edgeworthia is a cool little plant, y'all. It's got these flowers that bloom probably before any other tree, pretty much. It's the earliest in the spring. They smell fantastic. It's kind of got a leaf similar-ish to like a deciduous magnolia. It's kind of linear.
Or deciduous azalea.
Yeah, it's kind of long and a little bit thin. And it is a small-growing tree. And if you live in the city, like in Nashville, where it's a little bit warmer microclimate, I know Joy, who used to work with us in our perennial department, she had an Edgeworthia that did just fine in East Nashville. It is, though, a little bit risky to plant this on the outskirts, okay? It can be a little bit cold sensitive. So I think it's worth growing because it is such a cool little small tree. But it comes with a risk. It first maybe one winter, it may not wake up.
Oh.
So there's that. We do sell them, though. We have them here right now. They're budded up, ready to bloom for their early spring show.
The At Home Show is brought to you by Earthmix Garden Products, creating high-quality, sustainable soil blends and amendments in the Southeast. It's hot, and your plants need some mulch. Why not use Fines by Earthmix? Their finely shredded pine bark mulch offers unmatched moisture control and fantastic texture in your garden. Not only a great mulch, but an excellent soil conditioner to assist with drainage in beds and containers. Visit earthmix.net for more information and a list of retailers near you. Remember, success begins at the ground level when you choose Earthmix Garden Products.
We got a couple comments on our Facebook page. We had one viewer, Pam, who says they have a couple Edgeworthia and they are doing amazing. They're actually in bloom. I think they said blooming right now. Yeah, so looking good, blooming right now. And then another viewer says the parking lot is going to look amazing. So
all right.
Sounds
Thank
like
you.
people are quite excited about that.
Thank you for the encouragement.
Yes,
I'm
excited.
I'm officially at the stage where I need all the encouragement I can get every morning, and I sit up on the edge of the bed and I try to decide: is there a part that's not hurting? It's getting increasingly difficult, but it will be worth it. Getting close to the finish line and just not having dust. You'll actually be able to come to Bates Nursery with a clean car and leave with a clean car.
Oh,
Well,
exciting.
except for the inside when you're going to have
you may have
plants
pl-
on the inside.
But you know,
The
but
outside
it
will look good, though.
Yes, you'll look great driving down the
Yes.
highway.
Yes.
Nice and shiny. Someone is asking, when is the best time to cut back lavender?
3:30.
3:30.
It's actually it's a good question. You know, lavender is sold and is supposed to be evergreen here.
Mine
in
looks great
Middle
right
Tennessee.
now.
And every year is kind of different with that. Okay, lavender pretty much tells you when it needs to be cut back. I grew lavender a few years ago, and over the wintertime, it got wet, as it typically does here.
It cannot handle that.
Didn't like it. It didn't like my beds in general stay a little wet anyway. I'm at the bottom of a hill, so it's kind of iffy with me anyway. But my lavender told me when it needed to be cut back because in the springtime the foliage from last year looked horrible. It just looked really, really bad, and it was not happy. So what did I do? Clear cut it to the dirt. After I did that, I got a regrowth from the ground. And I got a brand new fresh lavender for the next season, but it did not stay pretty and evergreen for me. Okay, now what you can do now is deadhead. They're probably done blooming, so go ahead and deadhead it. But then let it be for the wintertime, unless it's just out of hand. Lavender can get kind of big on you.
Oh, they're rowdy.
Yeah, they can really get there.
They get out of hand.
So if they are just like too big for you and they're encroaching on what you want, then go ahead and give them a cutback now if you want. There's no problem with that. But a lot of times lavender deserves just a clear cutback to the ground in the early spring and watch it regrow from the roots.
When you're that rowdy, you deserve that.
Exactly.
Yes, you
That's the
do.
way that goes.
I got a lavender-y question. I planted phenomenal in a container.
Yeah.
And it really hasn't done very much.
Really? I think we planted
That's part of
phenomenal
the
at the same
phenomenon.
time.
Yeah. And how did yours grow, Caroline?
Mine is huge. I planted mine in ground.
Sounds like it's.
I used
sounds
Earthmix
like it's
landscape.
a Tyler problem.
Oh.
Sounds like it doesn't like you, Tyler. Just kidding.
Okay.
I think it probably loves you. Everybody and everything does.
I mean, I've got weird quirks with my plants that I plant, but I just for it to do nothing.
Are
it
those
looks-
limited to just plants?
No.
No, of course not. Oh my gosh.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Mine has at least tripled in size. Mine has gotten real big. And I know
wow.
we bought ours together. So
Yeah. Keep bragging.
Yeah.
mine is amazing. It
I
smells
put
great.
mostly pine fines in my container for drainage, and then threw some. I think it was landscape or.
Yeah.
If for me, I would
Outdoor.
use O because O has the shale in it.
Yeah. And are you
Drain
planning
better.
on replanting this every year?
I mean, they're perennials that are in.
Well, because when you use pure pine bark underneath, it's going to biodegrade, which means you're going to notice that the level, all of a sudden, I planted that right to the top, and then it's 4 inches down. You go, how is that possible? Who's stealing my dirt? Well, it's the...
You're stealing your own dirt, Tyler.
Yeah. So you might consider a product that provides drainage but doesn't decompose.
You know what I did? Enlighten under mine that I
Enlighten
planted
is a great
in
choice.
ground. So maybe Tyler pull that
Enlighten's a
up,
good
stick
idea.
some Enlighten underneath, and then give it a go.
Also, Colin's got my back. He said I wouldn't pick on the dude who has control of the mic.
Oh, get it, Colin.
Okay, Colin.
I think
All right,
that
Colin.
you got your soundboard over there. That would have been a perfect time to do that sound effect.
My mug says I'll mute you.
Risha did comment on our Facebook page saying her lavender asters are in full bloom right now. She sent some photos, but we usually can't get those up in the broadcast. But Risha, we will bring them up next week. I did take a look at them, and they are absolutely gorgeous. So our viewers have that to look forward to next week. We do have a question about hibiscus, and it's unfortunate that Josh is not here. Someone is wondering if they can bring in or repot their hibiscus to bring it in for the winter. So I'm assuming they're talking about the tropical hibiscus. I wouldn't repot it if it's already in a pot. I would leave it in the same pot and bring it in. But if you did put it in the ground, yeah, you can dig it up, put it in a pot, and bring it in. I know Josh puts his, I believe, in his basement through the winter, right?
Really hard to say about Josh.
Yeah, it's hard to know with that one.
He's got a grow op in the basement where
he does.
He has the grow light and everything.
But yes, you can do that. I actually had a customer come in the spring who they needed a dead hibiscus ID'd or a dead plant, and I was up there, so I took a look at it, and I was like, well, that looks like a hibiscus. And he was like, oh, yeah, it was gorgeous. I was like, but that looks like a tropical hibiscus. So he had put one in the ground. Actually, I think he put like 5 in the ground around his house. And those just, whoops. Yeah. Those get zapped pretty quickly as we move into winter. So we do have a hardy hibiscus that looks fairly similar to the tropical, but not the same color and doesn't get quite as tall.
Now, Caroline, for repotting as far as bigger size, could that be done in late winter?
You could, honestly, you could do it any time. I usually advise repotting stuff when the days are long and it's a little bit warmer outside. But if you get bored and your hibiscus looks like it's struggling, you can go ahead and repot it. That can be done.
Well, like we talked about last week too, if you say you wait till spring or into late spring into summer and you decide to repot it, if you go into a much bigger pot, what does it do? It just really grows. It grows leaves, but it doesn't bloom a lot. It likes to be a little bit root bound, it seems, to really throw blooms. And this time of year is whenever hibiscus can really, really look good. Actually, it's gotten later into the season and they throw a ton of blooms. So if you do repot and you go a lot bigger, you'll get a big old green shrub, but you won't get too many flowers.
Additional support for the At Home Show is brought to you by Bates Nursery, a third-generation garden center located in Nashville, Tennessee, offering the widest selection of plants and gardening supplies from large trees to houseplants, from seeds to soil. Their knowledgeable staff will assist you with all your gardening needs. Open year-round, minutes from the heart of Nashville and beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. Browse their selection online anytime at batesnursery.com. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
Coming up this Thursday, we find out if Bates Nursery and Garden Center gets voted for the 20th time Best of Nashville. So we're anticipating that
with bated breath.
Yes,
Basted breath.
That kind of thing. So we really appreciate the connectivity and the support we have from the Nashville community. We would be nothing without that. And we're privileged to get to be a part of this great and growing community here in Nashville, Tennessee, and all points beyond. We're right in the middle of everything here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932. Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Imagine, if you will, you buy a plant and you plant it and you love it, and then you tell it all your problems, and then it gives you a raspberry, and you're gonna be okay, and we're also all gonna be okay because it's time for
What's in Bloom
with Austin. How's that for a segue?
That was great, Tyler. That was great.
What a great setup.
I tell you, speaking of raspberries, Ben, 2 days ago, picked some fall gold raspberries off of our plants here on the lot, and we ate them together. So,
well, that's
Tyler,
adorable.
Share a snack with your friends.
That is a bonding experience.
It was great.
Those are for customers.
Oh, Adam, don't act like you don't eat this stuff, too. You're eating blueberries in the
Don't tell
spring.
anybody.
Yeah, I've seen you back there,
I've
Adam.
seen them. Anyway, Adam's favorite thing to do is actually pick fruit off of plants and throw it at his employees.
Well, when there's
Dangerous.
nobody else around,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
But you don't see him doing that with service berries.
No,
those
no.
always
No.
all go to the muffins.
Yes.
That's right. All right, so
the
what's in
cobbler.
bloom? Not too many trees, but I did see evergreen magnolias still throwing a random bloom or two this morning. Why is that? I don't know. Anyways, they're great. Hey, roses are looking good right now. It's that time of year where we get that crisp air, and those roses really like it. Yep. Why do you think?
Rachel planted, what was that one that she liked? The
she got
Prince,
that purple one, didn't she?
Purple Prince or something like that. It's blooming right now.
Yeah. They like this cooler weather. David, I saw your house this morning. You still got canna lilies still blooming. Yeah, so that's cool. Cleome, that wild weed, still blooming, looking good. Celosia's looking great. I know that's an annual, but man, that when it starts blooming, it doesn't stop until it like literally freezes. Good plant to grow, great for mixed containers. All the natives like last week, Helianthus still going. That native sunflower still looking good on the interstates. Goldenrod, ironweed still happening. Hey y'all, anemone. What a pretty fall blooming plant. God, I love it.
Mine is in full show right now.
It's so good. God, it's good. I really, really love it. My verbena, bonariensis, the perennial verbena that gets tall, it's still showing off. It's been blooming forever, pretty much since I planted it. My clematis, jackmanii, done told y'all, it's the best one on the market, reblooming, looking good. All three of those fall bloomers we all know about, which is mums, pansies, and asters. Risha talked about her asters, and I'm glad you're enjoying them because they're pretty.
Hope you're enjoying your butterfly bush too.
Caroline wrote down on my list this morning, turtlehead is out there blooming. That's a cool little kind of shady loving little perennial that's got an odd bloom to it. So that's kind of cool to check out. Hey, you know what I noticed this morning? Mandevilla.
I've seen that blooming all over town.
I tell you what, it's been a great year for those.
Mine has been popping all year.
It's popping. Mandevilla is a great vine to grow as an annual vine, but still.
I overwintered mine in my greenhouse.
You can do it. I was just about to say, you can do it. And lastly, but not leastly, my petunias are so money. Tyler, did you get that picture? I tried to send it to you.
Yes.
Did you?
I did.
Oh my God.
I did.
Look at them. At the petunias, people.
And buried down deep.
Oh,
yes.
Look at those.
Can we see your Justins in there?
Hey, shut up. But listen,
language.
Look at those petunias. They are, look, there's a Justin Browse.
I see it.
It's dead. It's dead. There's 14 dead ones in there.
Are you sure it's dead? You can't really see it.
You can't even see it because of the beauty.
But what great structure they have due to the framework that the boxwoods are providing.
They're holding them up.
Well, used to, they would just nestle beautiful, tucked into the green foliage of the boxwood, and it was all great. Now they've just climbed over them and just ate them.
It's pretty good, though.
But you can't see them. I mean, if you can't see them, are they dead?
Yes.
Yes,
they are.
But look at those petunias.
Strong cup of delusion you got there.
Hey, misty lilac petunia. Wave petunia.
I like it.
Well,
Listen, I like
it certainly does help you to deal with the funk that you were in over much of the spring. But soon the cold weather will return, as will the dead box.
Austin, those Justins won't give you raspberries.
They're going to come back to haunt you. You could put little ornaments on them, though. Make some tiny Christmas trees. It'd be cute.
That's what's in.
Spray paint them silver, hang some ornaments on them.
I'm still thinking about what I'm going to replant.
I tell you what's going to be in bloom soon that you may never see the flower. Now we cannot sell Ilia Agnus anymore, correct?
Ilia Agnus we can.
We still sell
it. Privet we can't.
Privet we can. Yeah. Now Ilia Agnus, it has the most pungent flower, but the least showy. I mean, you have to look closely.
Yeah.
It has a scaly type of fleshy foliage to the leaves and to the stem.
That's an interesting way to put it.
But they are. It is.
It's rubbery, thick, kind of.
But it has. If you're ever walking along, or you're around your neighborhood, or you're here at the nursery, and you smell something, what is that extremely loud perfume? That's the way when I first smelled it, that's what I thought it was, a customer's perfume. Only to find out this has been 50 years ago. To find out that it was in fact Ilia Agnus, it is extremely pungent. So, but it's fall flowering, and it's if you like strong fragrances, it's a good plant to consider. It'll knock you down.
It'll knock you flat. All right, speaking of knocking people down, I knocked people down with my cross vine this spring, how much it bloomed. We got a question. Evergreen flowering vine suggestions, please. That is my absolute favorite. So mine
too.
Gosh, it looked gorgeous through the winter, through our deep freeze, and I'm up near Clarksville, so it was even colder where I am. I didn't really lose any leaves at all. They turned like this deep, deep red purple color and just fantastic. So that's my favorite one. Cross vine, it's a native, and it doesn't take over. I mean, it comes out from one spot. It doesn't shoot runners, or at least in my experience, it doesn't, but it grows like a machine. And the way it blooms in the spring.
Yeah.
Tyler's on the hunt.
Awesome.
We got a fly down here who's terrorizing on this end.
Tyler hates flies. He hates flies more than any human I've ever met. But yeah.
Well, another evergreen vine would be jessamine.
Yeah.
Yep, I've got
Carolina
that one too.
jessamine, yep.
Yeah, that stays pretty evergreen.
And the named cultivar, actually it's a combo that I gave to Monrovia.
Yeah.
That called Double Shot. Which is actually the Carolina jasmine and the swamp jasmine planted together, so you get a double blooming time, and because they look almost identical.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very hard. The flowers, the leaves, everything. It's just flowering time that is different. So.
Yeah, that was a good idea. There's also evergreen clematis.
I got paid no royalties for that at all. I just want you to know.
You should have, because we sell a lot of them.
Yep.
We do.
But yeah, evergreen clematis, y'all, it's a little bit on the line of cold hardy, but if you got a nice protected spot on a wall, brick wall, something like that, kind of in a little afternoon shade if you can help it, evergreen clematis is a real beautiful spring bloomer as well that's got a lot of fragrance.
And I know you love clematis.
I do. I'm a big fan.
Yes, you are. I know you
Austin,
don't love stuff.
I need a clematis coach. Will you help me?
First off, buy the best one.
I did Fragrance Star.
Jackman.
Mine did not do good this year.
Y'all, clematis, I mean, I'm just, a lot of times clematis, like other varieties, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they'll bloom their head off in the spring like they're supposed to do. And then after they bloom, they just kind of sit or they tank. And they don't necessarily die, but they don't look good. Like, they just don't.
Yeah, my Fragrance Star does that
They're
every
like
year.
sunny tops and cool feet. So, they really do their best when they're planted behind some taller shrub that keeps the ground shaded so that the tops, they can grow up maybe up a wall or a trellis or whatever.
Mailbox.
Yeah, but if you've got them out in the open where that soil is exposed to the full sun, particularly on a south or western exposure, they just don't do very well. They really struggle.
Yeah.
Sweet autumn clematis is probably the exception to that. They're
That'll
just
live
so
anywhere.
tough.
Will grow anywhere.
That'll live anywhere.
Yeah.
Almost invasive, if you will.
Just about.
So Tyler needs help with clematis and lavender, it seems like.
I'll come help you, Tom.
And you lost your cross vine. And you mowed down your
No.
Japanese maple.
Success. No, there's a comeback story for the ages with my crossvine.
All right.
Because
Big Nonia. For the
8 feet of growth from the dirt, just straight up the side of my little trellis,
They're
and then
growing
across the
machines.
top, and almost all the way across it.
I love that vine so much. Ben Trest was actually the one who turned me onto it.
And
I can't believe I almost
And it's
gave up on it.
And it's an evergreen, so it
Yes.
really does wonderfully.
Yeah.
And
All right.
The native species,
And
of course, what we sell is Madame Galen usually. Is that right? Or is that another?
Tangerine Beauty.
Tangerine
Yeah.
Beauty, yes.
Yeah.
So we got a question about creeping Jenny. I know some people in this room hate it. I have some mixed feelings.
I
It will grow
have
anywhere.
problems with the name. It just doesn't, it just go.
Would Creepy Jenny
Creepy
be better?
Jenny. Let's
I
call
just
it
go,
Creepy
I
This
don't
time of
like
year,
that
yeah.
name.
This
It
time of
could-
year,
I
Creepy
could have
Jenny.
called it something better. I don't like that.
Crawling Jenny?
Crawling Jenny. So we have a viewer that's asking, they want it to spread it basically in between stepping stones. And they're asking if it needs dirt, a lot of dirt to grow, or if it'll just kind of grow anywhere. It will grow anywhere. I've had it grow out of pots onto my driveway, creep across my driveway, get into my flower beds. So it'll root in anywhere and just go wild. So it should take off as long as it has something to like attach its roots to. I would say it will do it. They were asking about pine straw specifically. It seems like it will grow in that. Like I said, it grows in anything. It grows on top of itself. It's wild. So if you ever need a ground coverage, that one is one to go with.
Yeah. It's a growing
If
machine.
you if you want to watch like a little fight happen over years and years, plant it next to creeping phlox, and you'll see the two plants duke it out in little places, and the Jenny's like trying to find like little places to exist. But the phlox is pretty stout. It's a
Do you
stout.
think the phlox wins?
So far, it's winning very well.
It's the tortoise and the hare is what that is in the horticultural world.
Definitely. But it's a fun little combo.
Okay, let's talk hydrangeas.
Oh, got to.
My hydrangeas suffered a lot of dark leaf spots this summer. What should I do going forward?
Going forward, nothing, unfortunately. I mean, we're getting to the point of dormancy now, so those dark spots on the leaves will soon drop. Once they do drop, you be clean about it and pick it all up and get rid of it. But if you want to prevent, or if you don't want to see fungal spots, then you've got to prevent the fungus, okay? You got to spray before a fungus ever happens to keep them clean. And once you've got it, you've got it. There is no fungicide that takes away those dark spots. After it happens. Now, I will say, you're not alone in this. Tons of people this year, we had a fungusy season. We just did. We got hot and it was wet. So that brings a lot of fungal issues. And hydrangeas are no different in that they suffered that this year. But, just watch it.
If you've got drippy gutters, where that they tend to, maybe you didn't get them cleaned out really well, and the leaves are
no judging. We're not judging.
We're not judging you, but we're saying that those things contribute to, and you've got water that's just coming down over the top, and it just happens to be where they are frequently planted. So if you're not getting your gutters cleaned out properly, or you have some kind of leaks around there, that definitely is a major contributing factor. And a lot of the best thing to do as far as treatment goes is to prevent.
Yes.
And if you can, from a cultural standpoint, it's a whole lot better to prevent something than to have to correct it later on. It's much more difficult and more expensive.
Yeah,
yes,
and this
is
correct. This is pretty easy for us, but for y'all, just to reiterate, don't ever water your leaves, okay? If you got to water hydrangeas or roses or whatever you're trying to water, don't water their leaves, people, okay? Just the roots. I'm mad.
Come on, calm down over
Got
there.
some feelings on that, don't you?
Fired up.
Yeah,
And,
it does cause a lot of
somebody's going to
problems.
say, but y'all water y'all's leaves. I see the irrigation on at night. It's different.
That's true. It's different. We have to. We've got way too many plants. We could never hand water each one of those.
No.
But
Not a chance.
we
So
do
long.
it with there's a method to our madness,
Yes.
I should say.
There is.
Science
It's a
behind
little bit of a
everything.
trust me, bro. I have this.
And we can understand and deal with some of those issues. You might see some of our plants out here, y'all, that have some fungal spotting on them, and we will talk to you about that and let you know what's going on with that and why we choose not to use, harsh sprays and all that. We don't really believe in that. We can deal aesthetically with a little bit of damage, and know that our plants are still plenty healthy. They just have some issues. It's kind of like me getting a random wart or something. It's like, yeah, I've got it. Doesn't look great, but it ain't killing me.
Wow, sorry.
And I
Austin.
still look pretty good.
And this is
Austin and the random wart.
in this instance, it doesn't look good, Austin. It really doesn't. You need to get that checked out.
Thanks, Adam. I'll go. So there you go.
Fractured fairy tales. Austin, random wart.
Hey, you know what? I got to say something real quick. We talked about the therapeutic thing about gardening. Last night, my 3 daughters, 7, 5, and 3, we told them to go out and pick the garden. We just said, do that, and we let it happen. And my girls straight up went out there with a bucket and picked them cucumbers, picked them tomatoes, they picked a watermelon, and I got to sit there and watch them do that, and it was one of my proudest moments. They picked a watermelon, and Ivy Jo, my oldest, dropped it, and it popped. Cracked.
That means you got to eat it.
But she found, we did, yeah, we definitely cut it up, but she found out that if you drop a watermelon that is fully ripe, it will immediately pop, crack,
Kind of exciting.
and pop.
All right, let's get one more question in. We have a viewer that is wanting suggestions for 2 small 20-foot top trees to put at the end of a long driveway.
Okay, we can do that.
What would you say?
I mean,
for me, I'm going to say a serviceberry.
You love your service
You say
berry.
that every time.
And that's a good choice. He's
David
right.
said,
Yeah. No, he's right. It's a beautiful white blooming tree you just don't even think about. And it produces fruit that
It
typically
does.
the birds eat before you do.
Tyler and I ate a ton of
Nah,
service
we-
berries this year
we
back on
snacked
the
it
tree line.
down
Yeah,
this
we had a
year.
meeting back there, and
Yep.
my gosh.
Our
so
plants
good.
provide free snacks
Yes,
for
they do.
us.
Uh-huh.
Our most popular seller when it comes to that specific scenario is going to be dogwood. It just
Yeah.
is. Dogwoods and redbuds are still our best
Yeah,
sellers.
and I'm partial to Kuza dogwoods
Yeah.
Hey,
myself.
good
They
idea.
flower with the foliage on, and they flower later, and I just really like that look a lot better. It's not quite as profuse, but it gives you that background.
Well, particularly at the end of a driveway, which is usually a lot of sun, Kusa would do better anyway.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly.
So, yeah.
So there's some options. We have more. Come on out.
Hey, there you go, folks. We've put another hour in the books. We really appreciate you tuning in today and all the questions. Thank you all here in studio. And thanks especially to Adam Chapman filling in for Josh Carey, who's away on administrative duties, marrying off Eliza. So hope that's a big day for them. Thanks for tuning in. Come see us. We're getting ready to open right now. And we'll see you soon here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, the At Home Show. Bye-bye.